Previously on Pretty Little Liars Original Sin.
Like a rose. Bloody Rose? Taylor Swift cameo in Pretty Little Liars?
Hi guys, it's Lauren
Daisy.
Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Pretty Little Liars Summer School recap review. So today we're going to be talking about episode 3. It just came out yesterday when I'm filming this, so I watched it yesterday, made some notes, and I feel like I'm getting back into my zone because the first video that I did, if you haven't seen that yet, I did recap and review episodes 1 and 2. I didn't really have that many new theories. I'd kind of come up with my theories after seeing the trailer and just have kind of stuck with those. So I didn't have a lot to give you guys in terms of like new theories or ideas. But since then, I've been thinking about it more and more. And then with what I had kind of started to come up with, and also what we got from episode 3, I have quite a few more like theories and ideas to go through with you at the end of the video. As always, please let me know in the comments, what did you think of this episode? I absolutely love talking to you guys about this show and hearing all of your thoughts. And you know, like, comment, subscribe. Like 80% of you aren't subscribed, so that feels a little bit shady. And honestly, seems like maybe the kind of thing Bloody Rose might not be happy about. I'm just saying. So yes, let's get straight into it with episode 3. Firstly, I do just want to say I am loving this season so much, and I'm seeing a lot of love for this season online as well, which I'm so happy about, because I know the original sin was met with quite a bit of criticism, because it wasn't very similar to the original series, which I personally quite liked. I like that they have their own feel and their own kind of vibe. But I think now that people kind of know what this show's about and have gotten to know the characters more, they're enjoying season 2 a lot more because they're just kind of taking it as its own thing, which I'm so happy about, and I just have loved it. Literally, as soon as I finished this episode, I wanted to watch more. And I'm so upset that we're only getting 8 episodes this season instead of the 10 that we got for Original Sin. I do really hope that, you know, that it will get renewed. That would be just really amazing. I would really love that. I really love the cast for this show. I think they do such an incredible job. So yeah, make sure you go and show it love. Online, wherever, you know, give it good reviews, all that good stuff, you know. But anyway, on to the actual episode. So we started this episode with what looked like a home video of Angela going to Archie in his cage and like giving him a piece of birthday cake and saying like, oh, happy sweet 16, you know, and stuff. And then he gives her a drawing back and it's a picture of Bloody Rose, and she says, oh, this is like Mum. And we can see in the corner that it says Spooky Spaghetti on it, and Mouse is like watching it, so it's like a fan-made movie. And I think this is interesting because it feels kind of maybe Scream-esque, kind of like Scream 4 and also Scream 5, yeah, where it was kind of like the killers wanted to make their own stab movie. So in the Scream movies, there is a movie inside a movie, and it's called Stab, and it's basically meant to be a kind of parody of Scream itself, but within the Scream movies. So they're movies that exist and that are based on the events in Scream, right? And I don't know if maybe that could be maybe one of like the killer's motives here. I don't know. To kind of, yeah, make a movie within a movie. Like, they've become so obsessed with these theories and Spooky Spaghetti that they're kind of taking it to a whole nother level. I can't remember. But yeah, basically in the Scream movies, we have a few killers that are obsessed with the Stab movies and like want to make their own version or be in Stab movies because they've like obviously killed people, and then those movies will get made about them and they become famous from that. So I'm kind of interested in maybe that angle if they did go like along those lines. So then we saw that someone had actually put the girls' phone numbers up on the website as well, which kind of then points suspicion at the only people we know that have have their phone numbers, which is their parents, obviously each other. And then Noah gave hers to Jen, Tabby gave hers to Christian, Imogen gave hers to Johnny, and Mouse gave hers to like her mum. So, and Farron, obviously, we assume like Ash and Henry and Sean also have their numbers. And Farron gave hers to the coach. But those don't seem like, I don't know. Like, the girls literally said, they're like, oh, well, we've each given our number out to someone, but none of these people have all of our numbers to be able to put them on the website. So it just seems a bit weird. My only guess of someone that would have all of their numbers is potentially Dr. Sullivan in order to like book appointments with them. They're like solo appointments. Obviously they were doing like group ones before. And Sydney did say to Imogen, oh, I'll set you up with an appointment with Dr. Sullivan. So maybe up until that point, the parents were arranging the appointments, but maybe now that they're doing their solo appointments and just kind of going in whenever, Dr. Sullivan now has all of their phone numbers. So maybe either Dr. Sullivan's involved or whoever was able to maybe hack in to Dr. Sullivan's system and get their like info. Also, I thought the fact that their group chat is named Final Girls, and we got to see like some of their texts, like it was just so cute. Like they're really trying to make them feel like proper friends this season, which I really love, and we're getting to see a bit more of their like close-knit friendship, because obviously in season 1 they weren't friends like in the beginning, really. They were more like acquaintances aside from like Tabby and Imogen. So then we kind of saw that friendship group build, and now we're at a point in this season where we kind of were with the girls in the original Pretty Little Liars, where they're like an established friend group now, and we kind of get to see them interact like that, which is fun. We're also seeing more of Mouse's grandma kind of starting to forget things, like she thinks that today is Mouse's birthday when it's actually in a couple of days. And yeah, because it is Mouse's birthday, it's her sweet 16, and she kind of says, oh, maybe we should do something, and all of the girls kind of play it down. They're like, oh, it is your birthday, of course it is. I just feel like with our numbers being leaked, maybe we shouldn't have a party, we'll just do it like low-key, which obviously disappoints Mouse, but is a lie, and the girls have actually planned her a surprise party. But my heart just broke for her, like, oh, I just love Mouse, she's so cute. So Mouse then goes to Dr. Sullivan, is kind of talking about her grandma and her forgetfulness. So Dr. Sullivan says, you know, if you do start to get more concerned, you can always bring her in for an evaluation. And I wonder if she means somebody else, because generally, obviously this is a TV show, so we have to kind of suspend disbelief a little bit. But generally speaking, at least in the UK, you aren't really supposed to go to the same psychologist or therapist as a family member of yours, because it's kind of a bit of a, not like conflict of interest, but you kind of want to share your stories and yours, like, which may be about them if it's like, you know, your parent or sibling or something. And that then kind of, I don't know, it like blurs the lines a little bit if that therapist is seeing both of you like simultaneously or has like seen you in the past. So I wonder if Dr. Sullivan meant somebody else, or if she was also going to see Lola, because it seems like she kind of somehow does everything. And I'd find it interesting if Dr. Sullivan is more intertwined, like if she maybe was like Davy's psychologist, because obviously Davy was taking a lot of pills and stuff. And also I feel like Dr. Sullivan is upgraded, because like she didn't prescribe the girls any pills in the original Pretty Little Liars. So I don't know if she now like has properly, I mean, I think she had her own practice before, but now I guess she like has her own practice in Millwood. So I'm definitely interested in Dr. Sullivan. What was she doing in that space of time? Like, after she stopped seeing our OG liars and we didn't see her again after that, did she continue to work at Radley until it shut down? Like, and then when it shut down, did she leave her practice in Rosewood? Did she sell it and then move to Millwood? I don't know. Like, I'm intrigued by that. And obviously, Mona as A did threaten her son. And I still think that Johnny is going to turn out to be her son, because he hasn't said his last name. And I think something's going to happen. Like, maybe Imogen will be at a meeting with Dr. Sullivan, and then he'll be in the waiting room because he's just waiting for his mum, or she'll come in to the ice cream place to come and see him, and Imogen will be like, what are you doing here? And she'll be like, this is my son. Or like he'll say, oh, I'm like Johnny Sullivan, like he'll write it down, and she'll be like, as in Dr. Anne Sullivan, and he'll be like, yeah. I feel like we're getting a reveal like that. I feel it coming. But yeah, so I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more to Dr. Sullivan, and she has ties to Radley. She has ties to our OG girls, and I want to hear more about that. Like, I wonder if she did treat Rose while she was at Radley, or if she was Davy's psychologist once she moved her practice to Millwood. I don't know. Something. I don't know if she's A or like Bloody Rose. I don't know. To me, like, I think I've said this before, but it would have to be really well done for me to buy into it, because obviously we already know her and she wasn't evil before. So I would really have to buy into that. I think maybe she is hiding something, but it might not be anything to do with Bloody Rose, but it might be something to do with, yeah, like Davy or Rose Waters, but not that she's involved in the killings. I don't know. Also, a lot of people I feel like are predicting her, so maybe they're like, yeah, that's way too obvious to bring back an old character and then have her be the killer. But also that'd be kind of fun, like, because then you would be able to go back and watch Pretty Little Liars, like, and see her as their therapist, knowing that this was kind of going to be a bit of a villain origin story for her. Like, that would be really cool, and a way to, yeah, affect, like, the lore of the original Pretty Little Liars, which would be kind of fun. And, like, it wouldn't really ruin anything. Like, I saw some people saying, like, what if Bloody Rose is Aria? And that would be insane, and also would completely change the original show, and, like, how you see the original show. Whereas, like, with Dr. Sullivan, she's far enough removed that, like, you're not going to be like, oh my god, I can't believe they made her evil. You'll just go back and watch the show and be like, oh my god, I can't believe, like, what happens to her in the future. So that would be a kind of fun element, to be honest. That would be fun. She also said she used to be a bit of a punk, like, so maybe she was, and then she, like, I don't know, like, found God or something. So we're getting quite a few religious themes this season. And maybe, you know, when she joined the church at Millwood, she became close with Mrs. Beasley. Maybe. Like, I wonder if maybe one time Kelly will go to church or something and Dr. Sullivan will just be there, like, attending. I don't know. I want to hear what you guys think about Dr. Sullivan in the comments. But anyway, that was a whole tangent. Back to the episode. After talking about her grandma, Mouse says that, you know, she's worried. You know, she's kind of, like, angry that her friends don't want to celebrate. Like, she's not angry at them, but she's angry at this situation for meaning that she can't just kind of, like, obviously live her life and be able to celebrate her Sweet 16. And I saw people saying that this was kind of, like, a weird take, but, like, remember being 16. Like, Sweet 16, I think especially in America, like, Sweet 16 is, like, a big thing, like, an MTV Sweet 16. So I feel like this is actually quite realistic for a teenager to feel like their Sweet 16 is something that's really important to them and that they want to celebrate with their friends because they finally kind of thought they were out of the woods. So then for them to not be able to, I feel like it's kind of understandable that she would be upset, like she's supposed to be a teenager. But what really broke my heart was when she said, you know, maybe they just, like, don't like me. Was that something that she said? Like, yeah, maybe they couldn't be bothered or they just don't like me. And that just broke my heart so much. Like, because I feel like a lot of people go through that same kind of, like, insecurity and wondering if they're maybe, like, the least liked in the friendship group, or maybe feel a little bit, like, left out, or, you know, and then that just kind of, like, plays on your mind, even if it's not true, because obviously we know the girls love her and are planning this big surprise party for her. But I think it's interesting we're getting to see a lot more of Mouse's personality and her dynamics as a character this season, which I really like, because last season I had said I wanted to see more of Mouse. I feel like we didn't see her as much as the others. So yeah, I like that they're kind of delving more into that kind of stuff. Now, this I thought was really weird. We're in the church with like Kelly and Greg's in there, and everyone's like sitting, and Mrs. Beasley is talking about the play, and Pastor Malachi is his name. He says that Sandy left Millwood. And I just feel like, why? Like, who? How? Like, how? This is the bit I don't get. Like, this isn't like a what's it called? Sisters of Mary, Sweet Mary, what was it called? The one from Riverdale, where people actually stay there, right? Like, where the patients stay there, and all that kind of stuff. Like, their parents like drop them off and basically leave them. Sisters of Quiet Mercy? I feel like I'm confusing Our Mother of Grace and like this one and the Riverdale one. Anyway. They don't live there. They just go to church there, right? So presumably Sandy's parents would drop her off at church, or she would like drive there or whatever, or like, you know. And since Mrs. Beasley is like also part of the church, maybe her parents would be too or something. So it's kind of weird to me, like, who told Pastor that she had just left Millwood? Like, who told him that? Where would he even know about that? Like, she literally got stabbed to death trying to get into her car. So are we saying that Bloody Rose killed her, took her car and drove it somewhere with her body and hid it, and then like messaged her parents and was like, I'm leaving? Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. Hold on, I'm actually going to watch the clip again. I'm going to see exactly what he said.
Sandy's mother called the rectory. According to Mrs. Quinn, Sandy decided against staying in Millwood for the summer and has instead joined her family on the Cape.
How? What and how? What do you mean? Because who? What? Like... Like, why? Like, why would her mum call? Like, are we supposed to believe that Bloody Rose called the church and told them that Sandy was going back to her family? Like, why would Bloody Rose even know anything about her family? And Sabrina and Nick are just missing. Like, she didn't call up for them. So... like, it was just such a weird way to, like, explain away her death. Like, is Bloody Rose, like, keeping the bodies? Is she purposefully, like, hiding them? Or, like, I don't know. Like, it's weird. That's why I'm, like, I feel good about my Mrs. Beasley theory, because she is connected to the church. She's literally stood up with him on the stage in this scene, talking about Sandy. So, maybe it's, like, a Riverdale, like, cult kind of vibe. Like I said before, like Chad Michael Murray, like the cult. I don't know, maybe it's all part of it, like this cleansing of Rosewood. Maybe it starts in the church with like recruit, because like Kelly sat next to Henry in this scene, so she's already recruited someone. She's gonna get, like, you know, they're putting out flyers for people to come to this play. So maybe on the surface level they're doing all this, but underneath it's like darker, and Mrs. Beasley and the pastor are actually killing sinners like in the town to literally purify the town, like full on, you know, like Black Hood. Again, I keep saying Riverdale, but like that's what it reminds me of. Like that kind of vibe. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it has something to do with purifying the town. Like, you know, Bloody Rose, like she's got this thorn crown. It feels like it's got religious undertones. And yeah, she killed like the people that were having sex. And then Sandy, who was obviously like promiscuous. So maybe they're going after, yeah, like sinners and things like that. But I feel like they have to have someone young. And I think maybe the young person is the one that knows about Spooky Spaghetti, told them, like, we're going to use this Bloody Rose character. For sure, I don't think it's just one person. I think they're going down the Scream route, where it's, like, usually 2 or maybe even more killers this time. Like, maybe it's the team of Mrs. Beasley, Jen, and Pastor Malachi. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe they're like a little unit. And I think maybe Jen, or whoever the teenager is, isn't really big into this whole purifying the town thing, but is more obsessed with Bloody Rose and Spooky Spaghetti, or is doing it like for money or something. Like, I feel like maybe we're working with people with different motives here, but ultimately their goals kind of align. And yeah, Mrs. Beasley in this scene, she said something about redemption for those who are worthy. And the play is called Redemption House, and obviously it's about like teens that have sex and then, you know, like re-virginize, or it's about someone who does like drunk driving. Like, it obviously is kind of about like sinners and stuff, and kind of how they want to use their like religion and their values to help these kids and help them, you know, be raised to be better people. Like, so if that's the case, maybe they think the people they're already killing are kind of like lost causes, so they're just getting rid of them. So then they have their group of good teenagers that they're raising and they're teaching to do all the good stuff, and the ones that they feel are lost causes or beyond help, they are killing to purify the town. Yeah. I feel like I don't need a theory section of this video now, because this whole thing is me just saying my theories the whole time. Then, so Imogen was like watching Johnny like ride into the ice cream parlor, and he was like shirtless and stuff, and she's obviously like attracted to him. For me, the chemistry with these two is great. Like I said, the chemistry with Tabby and Christian, 10 out of 10, and I think the same thing with Johnny and Imogen. I am really excited for these two to like actually be a couple. But Kelly comes into the shop and she has flyers for this redemption play, right? But she seems a bit caught off guard when she sees Imogen there and doesn't really want to give her the flyer. And I wonder if this is because the themes in the play might feel targeted towards her. I wonder if in the play, you know, we have this couple that does end up having sex even though they're not supposed to. I wonder if maybe that leads to like a teen pregnancy and they say that this is bad. And obviously if Imogen goes to watch this, she's going to feel horrible. So I wonder if it's like something like that as to why Kelly didn't want her to like come to the play or see the flyer for it. And it was just really sweet. Like, Imogen said that she missed her and that she wanted her to come to Mouse's party, and like invited her and said she could bring Greg. Because yeah, like we kind of established last episode or the first episode, none of them have spoken to Kelly for like 6 months while she's been in, you know, this religious group and being homeschooled at the same time. So she's not getting, aside from Greg, any like access to talk to anybody outside of this group, which is what again makes it feel a little bit cult-ish. Like, cults kind of tend to prey on people that are more vulnerable, you know, like she literally lost her dad and her twin within the span of like 5 months, I think, or something, maybe even less than that. And then you have Mrs. Beasley, who's also going through her own trauma, and now they're, you know, being like taken in by these people and they're like taking care of them and they're supposedly thriving there. And I just think that's kind of interesting that she can't thrive there and like, you know, whatever, without being homeschooled. Like, she can't go to school, or even if she does still want to be homeschooled, she doesn't reach out to any of her friends or talk to anyone that's outside of the group. And Greg is the only one, but I think the only reason that Mrs. Beasley is letting her still see Greg is the fact that he is also going to this church. Like, we know he's not really buying into it in the same way, but he's still going. So I guess in Mrs. Beasley's mind, he's still okay for her to talk to, because he doesn't appear to be, to her anyway, like poisoning Kelly's thoughts and like, you know, bringing her back to like the land of the sinners. Whereas maybe if she interacts with the other girls, that is what could happen. She'll become more like them and become more integrated in their friendship group and kind of drift away from the church and that group. When Tabby and Christian were talking about movies again, which first of all, they're so cute. Like, they're so cute and nerdy together. I love them. He said, you can come and see my like effects studio. I clocked that man straight away. I was like, he is going to have an Archie or like a Bloody Rose mask in there. I just know it. If you put in my notes, I bet he's got a Bloody Rose or Archie mask in there. Honestly, King, what were you doing? So then we have this kind of plot line where Farron is still struggling with the guys at the lifeguard pool. Like, they put a red bikini in her locker and is like, oh, this, you know, is the new uniform and stuff. And I did like that Ash, you know, kind of like stood up for her. Sean, not so much, but also he's, you know, teammates with Greg and stuff, so I wasn't expecting a lot from him, to be honest. But yeah, and she is kind of struggling with them not respecting her as the captain. And then at the pizza parlor, Benny, who is the boss there, basically says, you know, I counted the cash register and there was supposed to be like 580, but there's only 560 or something. Did either of you take $20 out of the till? And Jen gets super defensive and says, no, like, why would you ask that? And Noah, like, recounts it and she's like, oh no, like, it's fine. It's actually all here. And so Noah then afterwards goes out and confronts Jen and says, what was that about? Like, I had to put a 20 in there from my own tips to bulk it back up so that you didn't get in trouble. Why are you stealing from the register? And she basically says, you know, it's not a big deal. It's just $20. Like, me and my mum need it more than this guy needs it. And like, I don't know, like, I already wasn't really vibing with Jen's character too much. But for me, this made her really unlikable. So I find it interesting if maybe they're gonna try and get this to be a main ship and then lead to the breakup of Noah and Sean, because I'm not, like, I was never really huge on Sean, but I definitely do like him a lot more than Jen. So yeah, I don't know. I just thought this scene was like weird and like disrespectful to Noah because she literally helped her get this job. So then at the ice cream parlor, Imogen sees Johnny giving a girl his number, and then later on, he asks this other girl if he could take her on a date to Rosewood to get ice cream, which I thought was hilarious because we never see an ice cream parlor. The only place we ever see is that abandoned ice cream factory. I don't think that's a good place for a date. And when he goes back into the back, Imogen kind of gives this girl a heads up and she's like, oh, just so you know, like, he's kind of a player. He's asked for a bunch of girls' numbers today, like, just letting you know. And this girl is so rude to her. I was like, that is crazy. Like, what am I witnessing right now? This is insane. And she snapped at her. She called her a dumb bitch. She was, like, super rude. And she was like, why are you, like, sticking your nose in my business? And Imogen was like, oh, you know, I'm just girls looking out for girls. Like, I just wanted to tell you. And she literally was horrible to her. And it was so weird. And then when Johnny comes back out, she's like, oh, you know, forget you and forget this bitch too, and like leaves. And I was like, why are you coming for my girl? Like, so shady. And Johnny's like, what just happened? And Imogen was like, oh, I'll be honest with you. Like, I told her that you know, have been asking loads of girls for their numbers. And he calls her, what did he call her? An uptight, no, stuck-up prude. I was like, what? I was like, why is everyone coming for my girl Imogen right now? Like, sweet baby, like, why are you doing this to her? Like, oh my god. And he's basically like, you know, I'm hot and single and, you know, don't try and ruin my game or like something like that. And which was fair. I get what he's saying. Like, she could have just, like, not said anything. But she's basically like, you know, you shouldn't treat girls like that, like they're replaceable. And I guess it's none of her business. But also, like, I don't know. Like, I just saw it as, like, a girl's girl thing, you know? She was just, like, giving that girl a heads up, and then she was so mean about it. As I thought, Christian shows Tabby his, like, studio, which is in his basement. And I really liked that they are carrying through with like the kind of themes of trauma and kind of like trauma responses, because Tabby is quite hesitant at first, you know, she's like, I don't know if I could try, like she's a bit wary about it, and I feel like that would be perfectly normal for someone in her situation. So I like that they're still making a point to show their reactions to things and like their points of view throughout the show, like even as we get like further away from the events. But she does go down there and she sees his like studio and she thinks it's really cool and wishes that she had her own, and he says that she could use his studio anytime she wanted, which I thought was sweet. But then she does end up snooping, which I thought was hilarious because she literally said to herself, don't snoop, and then snooped anyway, and I was like, you're so real for that. And she finds an Archie mask and also a Bloody Rose one that he has made, and obviously it freaks her out, and he's like, oh, you know, I didn't want you to see those, and she like runs out and she leaves. So Farron tells Henry about the pranks and the boys. You know, she wants them to respect her, but they make her feel like she's the problem and she's no fun and whatever. And Henry is kind of like, yeah, a little bit. And I was like, sir, I already think you're not good enough for Farron. What are you doing? And he says, you know, maybe you shouldn't be like such a hard ass all the time, and like maybe, you know, lighten up a bit and join in on the like pranks, like try and be one of the boys. And I was just like, sir, get out. Like, girlies, gather round. You know, not even girlies, everybody. Theys, thems, everyone, gather round. Because how many times in your life have you been told that it's just a joke? Like, it's just a joke, it's just banter, like, why can't you take a joke? And it's like, because it's not a joke and it's actually hurtful, maybe that's why I can't take the joke. Maybe because I actually have banter and this is not it. So I was kind of surprised, honestly, that Henry said that. I think especially because, like, he's kind of been targeted by them before, like with Greg saying, like, oh, your gay boyfriend and stuff, like, and he obviously wasn't happy about that. And I feel like now, like, it was such a weird, like a weird 180 from him, because on one hand, he's ready to fight Greg saying that they shouldn't disrespect Farron, but now he's like, oh, just be one of the guys and like just take a joke. And it's like, ooh, Henry, and then we get a really cute scene with Tabby and Imogen. I just adore their friendship. It feels so like genuine to me. They just feel like such genuine besties, and they're talking, and I think it's so funny that Imogen always calls Christian like cute Christian when they're talking. And Tabby, you know, tells Imogen about the masks, and she wonders when she'll be able to like a guy again, you know, without all the PTSD that comes along with it. And Imogen's kind of like, yeah, like, I feel that. I feel that big. And kind of like tells Tabby about what happened with Johnny and stuff, and they're just kind of like having a bit of a bonding moment over like, when will we feel like we can date properly again after what happened to us, which I'm sure is something that a lot of victims also experience. And so the Spooky Spaghetti like website actually takes down their numbers because Mouse emailed them and like their pictures and everything. So Mouse is really excited and she tells the girls, and she's like, you know, now that this has been taken down, can we do a party? And they're all still like, oh no, you know, we just don't really, you know, want to do anything. And again, Mouse is so upset and she's so excited, and it's just so like, oh. But yeah, they're planning like a big surprise thing for her at the roller rink, and they're all gonna like, I think it's based on a movie or something, and they're all gonna like dress up, and it's just so cute. And then later at the ice cream parlor, Imogen apologizes to Johnny for how she, you know, kind of like overreacted, and he apologizes and says that he should have been more considerate of her, and she doesn't have to worry, like, he likes to have fun and stuff, but he's not a bad guy, and anything that he did with those girls would have been completely consensual. And so Imogen's like, right, you Googled me and you know about Chip and all that stuff. And he's like, yeah, I did. I just thought it was really sweet. Like, they kind of obviously had him out to be this player in the beginning, but it shows that he did like care about what she thinks, or like, you know, doesn't want her to feel uncomfortable around him. And I don't know, it was just sweet. And like later in the episode, he says that, you know, if she wants to, she can go and take a nap because she's tired. And like, I don't know, I'm already invested in this pairing. And then Tabby and Christian talk at the Orpheum, and Tabby again, you know, kind of apologizes for how she left, and he, like Johnny, is like, no, like I'm the one that should apologize. And he says that he had made those masks before he knew Tabby, that he had seen them on Spooky Spaghetti and was just kind of inspired to like make them, because he makes a lot of horror masks. But yeah, they were all before he knew her, and obviously he would have never done it after knowing her, and that she was obviously part of it. She does say to him that the movie they watched, Avenge, her movie, is autobiographical, and he says, you know, I did think that it seemed personal, and, you know, she kind of is really honest, which I really liked, and she's like, you know, this is all a lot for me because Chip was my best friend. He worked at the theatre just like you do. We used to hang out in his basement all the time, like just like the other day, so it was just a lot for her. Like, it was just really overwhelming, and for her to be able to feel like she can trust Christian is going to be hard, because obviously she trusted Chip, and he was, yeah, her best friend. So I liked that they had that kind of conversation, because obviously when she first sees Christian, she has a bit of a flashback to Chip, like in the uniform and everything, and then she invites him to Mouse's party, which I thought was so cute, and Imogen also invites Johnny to the party and stuff, and I just thought that was like, yes, girls, like, we're getting there. I mean, I think I'm so torn, because on one hand I want us to have more episodes, but also I do like that because there are less episodes, we get to things a bit quicker, whereas like Pretty Little Liars, 25 episode seasons, I miss those days, but we did have filler episodes and things like that, whereas like every episode I feel like we're getting to places quicker, like the relationships develop quicker, and which is a bit more fun, I suppose. So Farron is at the pool and she sees one of the guys sleeping in the lifeguard chair. It was the same guy that did the prank on her, so she kind of orchestrates this prank with Greg and Ash and Sean to like scare him and stuff, and they like think it's hilarious, and it was kind of like fun to see her interacting with Sean and Ash a bit more and like being more part of the group, but it definitely didn't feel very her, like, in the moment. And then Mouse, bless her heart, is telling Ash about how sad she is about her birthday, so he comes clean and he says, okay, there is a surprise party, but I can't tell you where, I'm not going to tell you anything about it, but it is tonight, so don't worry, like, they are planning something for you. And I really love Mouse and Ash, and I think their chemistry definitely comes a lot from the fact that Jordan and Malia are dating in real life. But they are easily my favourite couple, and I really love them. And I have a theory about Ash that I'm going to talk about later that I have to leave until the end of this video because my heart can't take it, honestly. The idea of him being dodgy, it's too much for me. Back at the pizza place, they always have the Rosewood guys be like arseholes in this show, but there's like Rosewood guys from the Rosewood Sharks team sitting and eating pizza, and they actually don't tip, and Jen kind of like has a go at them, and then they just basically start like being dicks and stuff, and Noah defends Jen, and she goes outside to see her, and I mean, Jen obviously clearly still has feelings for Noah, but also who wouldn't? Like, she's drop dead gorgeous, and she just kind of like consoles her a bit, and she also ends up inviting her to Mouse's party. And Jen asks if Sean's gonna be there, and Noah's like, oh no, this isn't really his scene, like, kind of thing. And like, I don't know, I don't like it. I don't like the cheating like vibes that we're getting here, because yeah, it just feels like a negative stereotype on bisexual characters. But anyway, I already did a whole rant about that in my other one. Also, Imogen like has a dream about Bloody Rose, but yeah, it's just a dream, so it's not really that relevant. Then at the pool, a little girl starts to drown, and Farron looks over and nobody is sat in the lifeguard chair, so she has to go in and basically save this little girl's life. And she fires the guy who's like was the guy that pranked her. It was him, and she fires him. And I was like, yes, queen, you tell him, because she's like, someone could have died out there because you were just what were you doing? Like, this is not just some like fun little summer job. Like, you're a lifeguard. Lifeguard. And so I really liked that. And the conversation that she has with Henry afterwards, I just love Farron. I just love her. And basically she says, the mistake that she made today at the pool was that she was trying to be one of the guys when she's not. She was like, I'm a woman, I'm black, I'm strong, I'm a force, and I need to own that. And I was like, Farron, the woman that you are, love it. Love her. And I like that she, said this to Henry. And I feel like we've had like 2 instances now with Henry where she's basically had to put him in check and be like, this is like, no. Where was I going with that? Like, she had to tell him before, like, no, I can handle this. And then this time she had to say, like, your advice to be one of the guys, that's not going to work because I'm not and I don't want to be. And yeah, I just loved it. I was like, yes, like, you do not have to just like fit in or just take a joke when you don't want to. If that's not you, then that's not you. And they should respect that. But they have this conversation and it makes Farron feel like she should probably tell Henry the truth. So she does, about the fact that she's been cleared to dance for a while now. And he's obviously upset that she lied to him and decides that he's not going to go to Mouse's party. So then we go to Mouse's party, which, if I've said it once, I've said it a million times. The sets for this show, the clothes for this show, the vibes of this show, they are everything to me. They are everything to me. The costume designer deserves a raise. I don't know how much they're earning, but they deserve a raise. All the outfits were so cute. I absolutely loved them. Their hair, their makeup, everyone looked incredible. And it was just so fun, like the vibes of that party with the roller skates and like everyone showing up, and it was just nice to see them just having fun. Like Kelly shows up, which is really nice. Like her and Greg, it was nice to see like them interacting with the group. And like Johnny shows up and he brings ice cream and Christian's there, and Johnny and Imogen like hold hands while skating, and so do Christian and Tabby, and everyone's just like getting closer and just having fun. Which, yeah, I just really loved that scene. But poor Mouse. So while they're all off having fun, waiting for her to arrive because Ash is supposed to bring her there, Lola actually goes to the pawn shop and picks Mouse up after her shift and is like, okay, go and get dressed. I'm going to take you to meet your friends. Like, it's a secret. Like, I'm not supposed to say anything. So Mouse is like, great. And she drops her off at this, like, I can't remember what they called it, like, Rita E. Ricotta or something. It's basically like a play on Chuck E. Cheese. And it's, like, obviously abandoned. No one's in there. So Mouse is like, are you sure this is the right place? And Lola's like, yep. So she gets out of the car and Lola drives away and she goes into this place and it's obviously abandoned. There's all these creepy animatronics and things, and in there is a birthday cake with candles already lit and a note that says, happy birthday, Mouse. And it says, this is your birthday test. A final girl must escape any death trap. You hide, I seek. Wild. Wild. So she tries to leave and she's been chained in. Like, there are chains on the doors and a padlock, and she's got no like service or anything. And Bloody Rose is in there. When I tell you, this show is so good. When I tell you this show is so good, like, it's got the perfect balance between like the teen drama stuff and the relationships and the heartfelt of the friendships, but it also has the really scary parts. And I think Bloody Rose and what they've done so far is even scarier than the Archie stuff. It's so well done. And so she goes and she manages to hide in this cupboard, and Bloody Rose is like walking around like with this knife, like trying to find her. It was so tense. I was literally like, Mouse! And then a bit of time goes by, and obviously like the girls are at the party still and like skating, and it's all very cute and fun. Ash then goes to like the pawn shop and is like, I'm here to pick up Mouse, like, and he's got flowers and it's so cute. And Lola's like, I already dropped her off. And Mouse is like, what are you talking about? I was supposed to drop her off. What do you mean you've already dropped her off? And he's like, where? And so he messages the girls and he's like, apparently, or like rings them, I can't remember. And it's like, apparently she's dropped her at like a ricotta cheese, like, I don't know, but she doesn't remember which one, like. And so Noah's like, oh, there's an old one that me and my mum used to go to. So they're like, right, okay. We're all going to go and meet there. Ash and the girls are going to go and pick up Mouse. While this is happening, Mouse is in her little, like, cupboard and she starts to smell smoke. This whole fucking building is aflame. It's all on fire. Honestly, it was crazy. The effects were so good. Like, it was all, like, up in fire, like, fully engulfed in fire. She comes out of where she's hiding and, like, goes back into the main room. The animatronics are melting. It was so scary. It was so good. And obviously, as we know, she's, like, chained in. So she goes and manages to try and crawl out through an air vent. And just as the girls and Ash arrive and they're like, oh my god, is she in there? She comes like out from around the corner and obviously she's like covered in like smoke and soot and stuff. And they're all like, Mouse babes, what the fuck? Like, what happened? And she says, like, Bloody Rose was here, like, it's happening again. Like, babes, it's starting. We need to be ready. And yeah, that was the end. Loved it. My favourite episode so far. I thought it was great. No notes. I have no notes. I just loved it. So yeah. Now we'll get into my like theories and stuff. I have so much stuff written down and I feel like I also was writing it and then like would leave. I just had a Google Docs open. So I would like write it and then like at night I would be like, oh, you know what, that's a good idea. And I would just add it to the Google Docs. So I think it's a bit all over the place. So bear with me, but we're going to try and dissect my thoughts and theories now. Now we're going to get into, yeah, like my theories and stuff. So I'm probably just going to try and like read it from here so that I can get all of my like, all of my thoughts. But yeah, so I had maybe the killer is obsessed with spooky spaghetti. Like how Mouse is, because like obviously her look is based on the spooky spaghetti theory. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't come from anywhere. Like Rose Waters was just a normal gal. Like obviously Davy saw her at the soup kitchen and stuff. Like she's just a normal lady. So this came from people like imagining and creating these theories. So I do feel like the killer, or at least someone helping the killer, like they got their idea for Bloody Rose from Spooky Spaghetti. So maybe they are also obsessed with it and really like into the theories, reading everything, like, you know, and thought, right, we can use this as a cover for being the killer because there's already all these theories speculating online about this person and this kind of like horror figure. They're kind of the perfect person to dress as to commit these murders. This one isn't really a theory, but I noticed when I was editing my video for episodes 1 and 2 that Kelly's room actually really reminded me of Mona's. Just like the layout of it, like where she has her bed and then like on the wall she has like antique dolls and stuff like Mona used to. So I feel like this could just be a nod to Mona, but maybe also a hint towards her being involved in the whole Bloody Rose thing, like how Mona obviously was their friend, but then she turned out to be or that Karen is actually alive because obviously Mona faked her death, but I don't know. That one's a reach, but it's just something that I noticed. So I've seen quite a few people talking about Mrs. Langbury online. For me personally, she's not really on my suspect radar. I mean, it's tricky because I feel like would they have just introduced her for no reason? Probably not. Like she was just in that first episode and then she kind of went away. So maybe they could have introduced her to bring her back as like part of it, but I don't know. I don't feel that in my gut. You know, like maybe if she is part of it, it's obviously because she's avenging Chip. And yeah, I don't know, but I just feel like she obviously threatened to sue Tabby and she wrote that article, and I just feel like would she do all that on top of being a killer? Because it kind of just obviously looks like it gives her motive. And also none of the kills so far have been connected to Chip at all. Like, really, they don't have any kind of connection with him. And I feel like really she'd only want to go after like Tabby and Imogen, like Mouse, Noah, Farron, like they didn't really have anything to do with Chip. So I don't know. I get the like motive for her like wanting to avenge Chip, but I don't think it gives her enough to like go after random people and go after all the girls. But then I feel like it would be kind of like Friday the 13th and Scream 2 kind of vibes, right? Because the kind of vibe that I got from the kills was like Friday the 13th, because they kind of go after like teens that are having sex and stuff. And in the first Friday the 13th, the killer is actually Pamela Voorhees, who is Jason's mum, who kind of we know as the Friday the 13th killer. He actually isn't even in it. And it's all about Pamela and how she wants to take out the camp counselors because they basically were negligent and it led to his death. So, like, maybe... And then Scream 2 is also a similar thing where it's like Nancy Loomis, I think. And it's like because she's avenging Billy. So they could kind of pay homage to that with Chip and Mrs. Langsbury. But again, I just don't know if the motives for Mrs. Langsbury, they're good motives, but I just don't know if they really line up with how Bloody Rose has been doing things so far. Christian, I've seen him on people's lists as well. For me, I'm going to go with that Christian is a red herring. I just hope for I hope anyway that they wouldn't give Tabby or Imogen two people to now get invested in and have betray them again. I just think that would be crazy. So I think maybe at some point someone will steal the Archie mask that Christian made, or the Bloody Rose one. I think maybe he could be involved that way, just by them like stealing the mask that he's made and using it. But I think he's a red herring. I think they might make him seem suspicious, like obviously they did with the mask, but I don't think he's going to be involved. In terms of like the whole numbers thing, obviously I think Dr. Sullivan has their numbers. Kelly does, because Farron said like, oh, we've been trying to call you and stuff. So Kelly at least has like Farron and Imogen's ones. So that in turn could mean that Mrs. Beasley obviously has access to them because she would be able to access Kelly's phone. But also, right, they're like, oh, I got a call from an unknown number, like, and stuff. But I'm pretty sure the number, like the calls came from before their numbers were leaked onto the internet. So it seems like maybe whoever was calling them already had their numbers. Which again would bring up like Jen, but then they didn't have all their numbers. So I'm like, yeah, maybe Mrs. Beasley, because she could have been able, I assume maybe Kelly had all their numbers, or they'd all tried to like contact her at some point in the 6 months. And so Mrs. Beasley would be able to get, their numbers like through her phone. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm eliminating Rose Waters. Like, I wonder if it'll be that obvious that Bloody Rose just is Rose Waters. And maybe this will look so ridiculous when I look back. But like, I feel like I should probably be considering her more, but I guess I just feel like it's too obvious. I think she'll still appear. Like, I think maybe she could be the person that's renting Imogen's house. But I don't know, I also feel like maybe for the longevity of the show, they maybe need to move away from the Waters family a little bit and into like a new killer. So I don't know. But she was super hyper religious and she did slut shame like Angela and stuff. So that plays into my theory with Mrs. Beasley of like purifying the town. So What if it's like Hot Fuzz? Like that kind of vibe, where it's literally the whole town is like a cult. Like that kind of thing. And it's like these church people, it's like Mrs. Beasley, Pastor Malachi, maybe Dr. Sullivan, maybe not. Mrs. Beasley. Did I already say Mrs. Beasley? Maybe I did. Rose Waters, like, and they're trying to purify the sins of the town and like make it this like perfect, picturesque Millwood where nothing awful ever happens and nobody has sex and nobody does anything bad. Maybe. Because then maybe Mrs. Lagsbury could be in on that as well. But I feel like we do also need a young person. Imagine like Mrs. Langsbury, Mrs. Beasley, and Rosa Waters are like the Charlie's Angels of like avenging their dead children. And like purifying the town so that nobody's children, like, that doesn't happen to them again. Maybe? But then there was that body in the Waters house, which I at the time assumed to be Rose, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was Angela's body? But then maybe Rose is dead. I don't know. Like, maybe Archie just killed her. Like, why haven't they talked about that body that was in the house? It was just, like, laying on the bed, wasn't it? Or something. And it had been, like, burned, I think. Definitely getting, like, a punish the guilty. Like, that was that was Principal Clan's whole thing. And I feel like I'm kind of getting that with, like, the whole Kelly, Mrs. Beasley church situation. But it's more, like, redemption for the worthy or whatever it is that she said earlier in the episode. And, yeah, they're, like, cleansing the town, using the character of Bloody Rose as, like, a cover. And yeah, like Mrs. Beasley said she obviously was the one that wanted Kelly to like re-virginize. And so far, in terms of deaths, because obviously she did go after Mouse in this episode, but in terms of deaths, only non-virgins have died so far. Which could change, but that's kind of what we're working with at the minute. Also, I feel like we don't really know anything about Mrs. Beasley. Like, it's kind of weird because she could have been around back in the day. Like, no one's ever asked, like, oh, did you go to school with Mrs. Beasley as well? Because I guess at some point she met Tom. But Tom is obviously the same age as all the mums and went to school with them. So it makes sense that Mrs. Beasley would be around that same age. So, you know. And she did know about Tom assaulting Angela. So was she around when that happened? Because why else would she know? Like, it doesn't seem the kind of thing that Tom would just say to her, like, this is his new wife and, like, kind of separate from all that. So why would he end up telling her about that? But she obviously found out about it some other way. So was she in Millwood at that time? Like, what if she was in this, you know, great Holy Grace Mother of whatever it's called? I can't remember what it's called for the life of me. This church that Kelly now goes to. What if she was kind of like in that, or she was in the Sisters of Quiet Mercy, or like, I don't know. But she must have been in and around Millwood to have heard about this, right? And to then like get to know Tom and marry him eventually. So maybe she knew Angela or she knew Rose. Like, because obviously Rose is hyper religious. And, what's her name? Farron's mum, Corey, she mentioned a church. Like when Mrs. Beasley says she's going to church, she says, oh, this one. And then Mrs. Beasley says, oh, no, it's actually Mercy, Mother of God, whatever it's called. So maybe back in the day, Rose was obviously maybe going to this church, this like real intense church that now Mrs. Beasley and Kelly go to. But Mrs. Beasley always went there. Like maybe she went there as a kid and Rose was also there and would bring Angela. So maybe Mrs. Beasley knows Angela, like, or knew her from church, or knew Rose from church at least. So then that creates a connection there as well, that she's kind of like carrying on what like Archie started in a way. Maybe she was like, you know what, yeah, we do need to punish the guilty, but in a different way and like for different reasons. I really hope you guys are following along, because I feel like it's just word vomit. Like, it's just me, like, rambling about all these different, like, theories that I have all at once, and, like, none of it makes any sense. With Dr. Sullivan, the thing that makes me suspicious of her is that she does have all the info. You know, like, she's got the means. Like, why would Lola drop Mouse off there unless she had been told to by someone? She said, I only dropped her off for the surprise. She doesn't even say surprise party. So I feel like someone must have, like, sent her a text or something that told her she needed to drop Mouse off, because why else would she do it? Like, I know that she obviously gets confused, but this would just be, like, completely making something up out of nowhere. So I feel like she must have been prompted to do it. And Dr. Sullivan and Ash, but we're not talking about Ash, because Ash, I love him. He's not evil. I won't have it. Dr. Sullivan and Ash are the only people that know about Mouse's grandma's, like, forgetfulness. Like, no one else has really been told about it yet. So Dr. Sullivan would know that she could kind of, like, plant a seed by sending a text or whatever to Mouse's grandma that would then kind of set the plan in motion, because obviously she was supposed to go to this specific place because, like, the cake and everything was already set up there. Unless, like, the person is just hacking into Dr. Sullivan's, like, notes and stuff and is just reading everything from all the sessions. Like, that could also be the case. And also she knew about Imogen's new job at the diner, so she would have known to, like, find her there at the bus stop. But she doesn't have a connection to Kelly, so I don't know why she would have gone after Sandy. I don't know. Like, I feel like sometimes I'm like, you know what, Dr. Sullivan, that works really well, and other times I'm like, actually, that doesn't fit. I feel like Mrs. Beasley always fits. I'm just so convinced about her. Because I feel like the first two kills, like Sabrina and Nick and Sandy, they fit Mrs. Beasley. They fit her MO, cleansing the town. The girls, however, I feel like don't really fit Mrs. Beasley's MO and, like, are obviously more connected to Dr. Sullivan. So that would make more sense. Like, if there's two Bloody Roses, they both have two kind of different motives. Like, one is connected more to the town, and then the other is more connected to the girls specifically. But then also, were they trying to kill Mouse? Like, obviously she had a knife and stuff. And it's hard because obviously we don't see her and Mouse interact, so we don't know if she would have tried to kill her if she'd found her. But it does say one of the final girls must survive a death trap, which the death trap, I assume, is the fire. So maybe Mouse wasn't supposed to die then, because it was a lot more elaborate than, like, Sabrina and Nick or Sandy. So it kind of feels like maybe those were two different Bloody Roses. Maybe. I don't know, maybe Mrs. Beasley does see them as sinners. Like, Noah obviously, you know, has sex with Sean. Maybe if they're going, like, hyper, super, like, scary religious, they don't like that she also had a relationship with a girl. She was also in juvie. So maybe all these things are enough to call her a sinner in Mrs. Beasley's book. Imogen obviously was had a teen pregnancy, which, like, wasn't her fault. But I guess maybe, you know, Mrs. Beasley doesn't see it that way. Or, like, sees them as sinners because of their mothers, like how Principal Clanton did. You know, Mouse was meeting with those older guys, or so maybe that is enough for her to be a sinner. I don't know. Or maybe it's just the fact they're all linked to Karen's death, and that they bullied her, like they played that video before she died. Maybe she, like I mentioned earlier, feels like the other girls would, like, poison Kelly, like her thoughts and her new beliefs. So maybe when she found out that Kelly was going to Mouse's birthday party, she did not like that, so she went after Mouse. Also, Mouse was chained in, lest we forget. She was chained and padlocked into that place, and Bloody Rose was already inside. So I think there must be two. Like, she must have an accomplice, because who did the chains? Like, who locked, like, them in and then also was able to unlock it so that Bloody Rose could get out? Do you know what I mean? Because she tried the fire door and that also didn't open when Bloody Rose was in there. So someone must have been able to keep Mouse in, but also be able to let Bloody Rose in and out. So I'm convinced that it's 2 people, if not more than that. Now, this is a completely separate side tangent. I think maybe the killer, like I mentioned earlier, could be trying to use this spooky spaghetti thing, like make a movie, like, you know, recreate, like be like obsessed with horror, proper horror buff, like Scream kind of vibes, like making their own stab movies. Or again, going back to Scream, because I love Scream, it's one of my favorite movie franchises of all time. What if Dr. Sullivan is kind of like a Gale Weathers type, but worse? Because obviously Gale, she's a bit of an antagonist kind of character, like she's very into her journalism and stuff and goes about it in the wrong way, but ultimately she turns out to be a good person. Like, she's never the killer. So far, anyway. But what if Dr. Sullivan is like that? She's like Gale. Like, she's kind of like doing an Ezra or a Gale and writing a book on the Millwood Massacre. And she's getting closer to the girls by being their therapist and being able to, like, find out all their information. I mean, I don't think she would be able to use it in a book. Like, she'd probably get sued. So I don't really know about that. But yeah, like, and what if being Bloody Rose or orchestrating this Bloody Rose thing is a way for her to get more material, like, for her book or something? I don't know. That one was more of a random one. And I feel like Original Sin had a lot of references to Halloween and, like, shot for shot, like, kind of, like, comparisons and stuff. So I wonder if each season will, like, resemble that. Like, and Archie kind of had a bit of a Michael Myers, like, vibe to him. So I wonder if each season will be, like, heavily inspired by one horror franchise specifically. And Original Sin was Halloween, and maybe Summer School is Scream. But I hope that Ash is not a Billy Loomis type. That's an inspiration I don't want them to get from Scream, that Ash turns out to be evil like how Billy did. Oh. Okay, Jen. So Jen, like I said, I don't really like her. Like, this is no shade to obviously the actress or anything. I think she's playing her very well and, like, stuff. We're seeing some sweet sides to her, but I don't know, I just get a bit of an unlikable feeling from her. But I don't know if that necessarily means she's suspicious. But if she is, I feel like, you know, she obviously needs money. So maybe she helps Bloody Rose or whatever that whole scheme is, for money. Like, if she's the young one that, like, is able to access, like, go on Spooky Spaghetti or, you know, do those, like, more kind of, like, younger people things that Mrs. Beasley and that can't do. If they hire her to do those things and, like, get close to the girls and find out stuff for money, because, like, who was placing those roses there? Like, you know, like, going into the school, there were 2 roses in the school, one at the Orpheum, one in Farron's bag at the pool, and where was Mouse's rose? Oh, it was, like, at the pawn shop, I think. So, like, it would make more sense that Jen would go into those kinds of places. So maybe, yeah. And, like, Sheriff Beasley was obviously part of Noah's, like, parole and stuff, so he, like, his records or whatever, like, you know, access through the police thing. Maybe Mrs. Beasley knows that Jen was Noah's roommate, so it made it kind of like an easy target to bring her into, like, the A-team, and yeah, like, give her money so that she will do certain tasks and things. I guess, like, it would kind of be like, you know, like Sarah Harvey, how she didn't have any personal ties to the girls, like, that wasn't why she did it, she just did it for kind of, like, the fun of the game sort of thing. Like, maybe Jen just does it for the money? I don't really know. Also, she, like, talks about her mum, but we don't see her mum, which maybe doesn't mean anything, like, they just didn't want to cast someone to be her. But it would be interesting if she turned out to be someone that we already knew. Like, what if Jen was, like, Chip's sister? Like, something like that, maybe. And it was just coincidence that Noah met her in juvie. So this one isn't an A-related theory, but I think that Mouse created Spooky Spaghetti. Or if Spooky Spaghetti was already an established thing, that she wrote about Millwood on there and, like, kind of started that. I guess if it's, like, Reddit, like, a subreddit, like, that kind of thing about Millwood, and kind of got the whole talk about Archie and all that going, because I don't know, like maybe she did it as a way to kind of cope with the trauma and be able to talk about it, and like everyone kind of had their own way of dealing with it. Like obviously Tabby's was like the movie and stuff, and we haven't really seen much of how like Noah and Farron really coped with it, and maybe Mouse's way of coping with it was talking about it anonymously and being able to like read up about it all the time. So maybe she did that, and then it just kind of spiraled out of control with all of these people also joining and talking about it. Also, I feel like Mouse is the only one that didn't seem to have friends before, at least that we know of. Like Noah was obviously in juvie, so that explains that way. But even before juvie, she was on the track team, so she must have had like more like sporty friends. And Sean and that, like she does hang out with them. And Imogen obviously had drifted, but was friends with Kelly and Karen and like Greg and like that whole group. She was part of them. Tabby had, unfortunately, she had Chip. Farron would have had like the other people in her like dance class and things. So Mouse is the only one that really didn't seem to have any friends before the Liars. Like she meets Ash. After Original Sin has started, their friendship and relationship develops. We see it develop. We obviously see her become friends with the girls. And we know that she is very much in her own world, like she's on the computer all the time. So, yeah, she didn't really seem to have any other friends. And I think that links to why she was so worried in Dr. Sullivan's office about what if they don't like me and all this stuff, because she probably feels the least included in the group, maybe, or just feels like, you know, do they really like me, and, you know, stuff from just not having friends before that, maybe. And I wonder if she started this whole thing, like if she started the rumors about Bloody Rose or the theories about Bloody Rose and Spooky Spaghetti to keep them together as a group. And then someone took it and started killing, and now it's just gotten out of control. Like, I wonder if it's going to come out that she started this as a way to keep the group connected, because obviously they became friends because of everything that happened with A and Archie and their mums being connected. So now they're a friend unit. I wonder if she maybe thought to herself, okay, Archie's in jail now, so we don't have that keeping us together. We're not going to group therapy sessions together anymore. What if we start to drift apart? And obviously the friendship group is very important to her. So she thinks by starting a new mystery, by having a new person, this Bloody Rose character, we still have something to talk about. We still have something to like keep us in that close connected state, because we're still the only people that understand this thing. Does that make sense? So yeah, maybe she's worried that without A, which is what brought them together, their friendship will fall apart. So she started those rumors to like keep them close knit. And yeah, I don't know, maybe she worried that they wouldn't include her. Like maybe it's kind of a mirror of like Mona, like loser Mona, in that she feels maybe not as connected to the Liars. Like she was always kind of on the outskirts with them. So maybe that's how Mouse feels. And so yeah, so she started this new mystery just to have that for them to like chat about and be close over, but then it spun out of control. Loads of people started talking about it, and now someone's taken that character and is now using it to disguise themselves and kill people. So I don't think she's anything to do with the killings or anything to do with who Bloody Rose is, but I think maybe it'll come out that she was the originator of it, which is obviously going to make the group maybe trust her less.
Okay, and now I've left this one till last because I don't even want to talk about it, but it's Ash.
And I'm going to put in like a spoiler warning, like nothing's confirmed, but this theory for me is based off of like behind the scenes photos and things that I have noticed that aren't in the show. So that's why I'm kind of like, it might be a bit of a like spoiler. I'm going to show you like the photos and stuff. So if you don't want to like see those, then yeah, maybe skip this theory. But okay, I've seen a lot of comments and posts saying they think it's Ash, and I was like, you guys are crazy. There ain't no way. Okay, there ain't no way. I love Ash. I love Mouse and Ash together. Jordan and Malia, I think, incredible actors, and I love having them on the show. So I was like, there's no way that they're going to make Ash evil and then he's like going to leave or get arrested or die or whatever at the end of season 2. I won't have it. I just simply will not have it. But anyway, then I saw this selfie. Okay, this selfie of Bailey Madison and Bloody Rose, and I cannot unsee that this is Ash. I just cannot unsee that is Jordan under there. And I don't know why. Like, obviously, we know that Bloody Rose has brown eyes. It could be contacts. Like, Dr. Sullivan also has brown eyes, I think. So, and also, this could just be a body double. Like, a lot of times, for, like, I don't even remember what her name is. Like, the Black Widow or the Black Veil or whatever her name was from, Pretty Little Liars, there would just be somebody completely different under there. Like, they revealed that it was Sarah Harvey, but the actress who played Sarah Harvey didn't play her in all those scenes where we didn't know who she was. It was just somebody else. And somebody else would play A, like it wasn't Janelle Parrish or whoever all the time in those end scenes. So I feel like they could do that with Bloody Rose as well. So I don't want to go on her appearance too much, but it's this picture that is bothering me. Because this, like, if that is Annabeth Gish under there, she's not doing this. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it's the actress that plays, like, Martha Beasley, they ain't doing this. No. No. But do you know who looks like they might pose like that in pictures? Jordan. And it's unsettling to me. And, like, the brown eyes and, like, I don't know, like, his nose under there, maybe. Oh, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. And yeah, I like can't unsee it, but I also don't want to believe that it's true because I love them so much and it would be heartbreaking for Mouse and I don't want to lose MASH. But like I already said, I don't think they would give Imogen or Tabby another huge betrayal like Chip again. And I think Sean's maybe too far removed from the group and like he just does not make any sense to be anywhere near this. And Farron, like, I feel like Henry's already on the outs anyway. Like, they don't need a betrayal from him. Man's already, like, he's halfway out the door already. So, if it is going to be a big betrayal of someone we already know, then it feels like Ash is the easiest choice. I mean, unless Noah gets really connected to Jen in these next few episodes and then she turns out to be the big betrayal, I could kind of see that. Oh, but I don't like it. And I don't understand the motive. Like, for me, there is no motive that will make this make sense to me at all, other than shock factor. Guys, so this post was originally, I swear, it was originally posted by Bailey Madison, this photo. And PLL Original Sin, which, if you're not already following them, you have to follow them. Their content's so good. They post all the updates. Is where I then went to find this picture again and screenshot because I went to Bailey Madison's Instagram and it wasn't there anymore. She had a post from behind the scenes of episodes 1 and 2, but it was not the same post, like it was different pictures. And so I was like, where is this picture? I'm sure it was here. So I went on to PLL Original Sin's Instagram, like the fan page, and they still had it up. So that's like where the screenshot came from. But in their caption, they said Bailey Madison shares behind the scene photos. It just looks so much like Ash. I'm now scared. Like, the fact that she's taken it down makes me feel like maybe people also thought the same thing. And so they were like, quick, take it down. I don't want it to be Ash so badly. But like, everything surrounding this photo is making me think that it is. And also, I feel like we finally have good transgender representation in a Pretty Little Liars show. Like, Cece's reveal as being transgender was so incredibly messy, the way that it was handled, and to this day, people are still like, why did they make their only transgender character a villain and make it part of their villain-like origin story? And people have hated that storyline for years. And I feel like now we have great transgender representation. And because of that, this gorgeous, like, queer couple, and they're just so in love, and it's so sweet. And it's just, like, naturally part of the show. It's not some huge storyline or anything. For me, they are perfect. And so for them to make another transgender villain after the backlash that Pretty Little Liars saw, I just don't know if that makes sense to me. And also, like, I mean, I don't know, because I don't have any kind of experience with this kind of topic. So if you are transgender, I'd really love to hear your view on it. But obviously, Bloody Rose is dressed like a woman. Like, this whole time they've been like, she's a girl. Like, she's obviously a woman. Basically, everyone's guesses for who she is like women. And she's based on Rose Waters. And like, wears this dress and cardigan and everything. And I just don't know if, as a transgender person, you would dress up as the gender you were before. Like, when you're happy within yourself and you're finally being who you feel like you were always meant to be, and you're finally, you know, have transitioned and you can live your life how you want to live it, why you would then go back to wearing like those clothes that you don't identify with anymore. Like, to me, that feels like if it is Ash under there, is a very weird choice. But I would be interested to see people who actually, you know, experience that kind of feeling, like transgender or gender dysmorphia, or just, you know, like non-binary, anything like that. If you feel like, you know, in the comments you want to share your view on that, I would really love to hear it. And I would be interested as well to know Jordan's feelings on that, if that is true. So I don't know, like, to me, it doesn't feel right, and I don't want it to be true, because like I said, I love MASH, I love them together, and I also really love Jordan as part of this show as well. So if he ends up dying in the end of this season because he turns out to be Bloody Rose or be part of it, or goes to jail or whatever, we then would lose him as a character for the ongoing seasons. Whereas, like, for me, MASH is Endgame. Like, in my delusional world, like, they're Endgame. I want to see, like, whenever this series finishes, I hope it goes on for a lot more seasons, but whenever it does finish, I want to see them, like, married or just, like, happily together, kids, like, whatever it is. I just want them to be happy at the end of this show. So I'm literally basically trying to convince myself that the pictures I have seen do not look like Ash, even though I think they do. I'm trying to convince myself that they don't. And, like, because honestly, I was just lying in bed last night, like, it just can't be Ash. It just can't be him. It just can't be him. Like, it just can't be him. I just won't have it. Also, I feel like the motives, I don't know the motives. I have no idea why he would do this. Like, maybe a, like, weird I did this for you thing. Like, he did it for MASH, and, like, no, not for MASH. He did it for Mouse, and maybe is saying, like, oh, you know, I wanted to keep the group together, like, for you, like, I know how much this friendship means to you, and by, you know, starting this new mystery, like, I am keeping you guys, like, together, or, like, I'm able to save you from, like, some kind of, like, weird savior complex, you know, like, when people have, like, say, like, white knight or whatever, like, or savior, when, like, nurses, and this is gonna sound so crazy, but it's actually true, there have been nurses in the past that, like, have made patients sick, or have made, like, children sick in order to then be the one that saves them. Like, maybe it's in that situation where he's putting Mouse in danger to then save her from the danger. Like, every photo I zoom in more, like, it looks more and more like him under there, but I don't want it to be. Yeah, I'm just hoping it's like a stunt double or a body double. Because also I did see a quote about how, I can't remember if it was like the director or producer, said that all 5 girls, okay, so Malia, Maya, Bailey, Chandler, and Zarya all guessed who it was correctly early on, and they basically, like, told them no, it's not them and stuff, to try and keep, like, that mystery alive until the reveal. And I'm like, how long was that period of time? Because if they were trying to keep it a secret till the end so that the girls didn't know, having Jordan as Bloody Rose throughout, or having whoever it is actually be the character in scenes, like obviously, like we have this photo of Bailey and Bloody Rose, so as soon as they did that scene, Bailey would know who was under there, and that would like reveal who A was. So maybe they do have a double playing Bloody Rose up until the actual reveal, and then it'll be the real person under there. So to sum up, I still think it's Mrs. Beasley. I think Mrs. Beasley wants to cleanse the town of sinners, like Blackhood from Riverdale vibes. I think maybe she has a helper like Jen. I thought maybe Kelly, but I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm drifting more away from that now. Or like, yeah, teens from the church. Like it's got a proper like cult vibe. Like maybe Pastor Malachi's involved as well. I think Mouse made Spooky Spaghetti, or at least started posting about Millwood on there, or created the like persona of Bloody Rose, and then it just got taken away from her. And then Dr. Sullivan is still on my list, but I'm struggling with her motive. And I think maybe we'll just learn more about her, and she might again be a red herring. And I still think Johnny will turn out to be her son. So that's everything. It was a lot. But yeah, I want to know so badly what you guys think. I'm so excited to hear what you think of my theories, and also to hear your own theories. And yeah, I just want it to be Thursday already so that I can watch episode 4. But then like next week, episode 4 will be like halfway through the season already, which is so upsetting. But yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.